Here is a quick guide to navigating this e-learning module. There are various controls for playback, including play and pause, previous, next slide, and fast forward. You can also mute the audio or enable closed captioning, which will cause a transcript of the module to be displayed on the screen. Finally, you can click the X button if you wish to exit. In this module, we will cover how to access the admin UI, an overview of the admin UI, initial setup, and managing administrative users. The admin UI can be accessed by browsing to https://admin.cloudname.net. Your company would have been assigned a cloud during the provisioning process. You should have received an email from ZCALER support with your cloud assignment along with your initial username and temporary password. The browsers supported by the admin UI include IE 10 and above. With Firefox, the current version and one prior version are supported, and same with Chrome. The current version and one prior version are supported. Now let's log into the admin UI and take a look around. When you access the admin UI, you will be asked to log in. Go ahead and enter the listed username and password here. For this module, we will use the username of admin@training.safemarch.com and the password of ZCALERadmin-110. Please note, the password is case sensitive. The first time you log in, you will be presented with an end-user license agreement which you must accept in order to use the service. When you first log in, you will be presented with a dashboard showing web traffic for your organization for the last 24 hours. The admin UI is broken down into 4 major sections: Dashboard, Analytics, Policy, and Administration. If you click on any of these major sections, you will see the subsections that fall under it. You will be introduced to some of these areas during this module and will take a deeper dive in other modules within this course. Down in the lower left corner are additional links to view system notifications, changing the theme for the admin UI by highlighting the user icon and viewing your profile by clicking on the user icon, viewing a list of help and troubleshooting tools, and logging out. Let's take a look at additional places where you can find help within the admin UI. In addition to the Help Portal link, you'll notice that every page provides tooltips for each configurable item. As you move your mouse over configurable items, a pop-up will appear with a short description of the feature. In some cases, there may also be a hyperlink to a support article in the knowledge base. Clicking on the link causes an inline help panel to appear with the Help Portal document for that page. If you wish to view this document full screen, click on the Open in a New Tab link at the bottom of the article. Go ahead and try that now. You can modify several settings that will be specific to your login, such as your password, time zone, language, and other settings under My Profile. To modify your personal profile, click Administration, then choose My Profile. It's a good idea to change your password now. Note that ZCALER requires strong admin passwords. The password must be a minimum of 8 characters with at least 1 alpha character, 1 number, 1 capital letter, and 1 special character. To change your password, click the Change Password button. Enter your old password, Then enter your new password. Confirm your new password. Then click Save. The language of the admin UI can also be localized on a per-admin basis. Currently supported languages are English, French, German, Spanish, traditional Chinese, and Japanese. To change the language for your profile, click the Language drop-down. Select Español. Then click Save. Go ahead and change the language back to English for the rest of the demo. As an option, you can toggle an auto refresh of the dashboard. Enabling this causes the screen to refresh every 15 minutes. This prevents your session from timing out and also keeps the information in your window up to date. Some customers create a view-only admin account with this feature enabled and display the dashboard of their choice in the NOC. This is often used with the configurable admin UI timeout settings that will be shown next. Next is policy information, which you can enable to display policy descriptions at the top of each policy configuration window. The last item is to set your time zone. By default, the admin portal UI times out after 30 minutes of inactivity. This can be modified on a per-admin basis. To change the session timeout duration, go to Administration, then Advanced Settings. Set the desired session timeout interval. This is set in minutes between 5 and 600 minutes. Then click Save. And activate your changes. To edit your company profile, go to Administration, then Company Profile. The first three fields are pre-populated when your company was created in the ZCALER cloud. Your next step is to configure your address and time zone. Go ahead and enter the first line of the street address. I will populate the rest for you. Select the country drop-down, and for this example, select United States. Next, set the time zone where headquarters is located. Click the time zone drop-down. Then select Americas, Los Angeles. You can also upload a company logo that will be used in the login form that end users see when they log into the system, and also on any end user notification screens when a policy violation occurs. Under Company Logo, click the Upload link. Click Choose File. Select the JPEG called SafeMarch, and open the file. Last, select Upload. And you can now see a preview of the logo as it will appear on end user notifications. The last step in setting up your company profile is to review the contacts listed. Some may be pre-populated from information on your ZCALER order, but it's a good idea to fill out the rest. This gives ZCALER the best way to contact the correct people in your organization if necessary. Once you've finished filling out all the information, click Save. You will now notice that the update icon has a 1 on top of it in red. This is telling you that there is one administrator with changes that are waiting to be pushed to the cloud. With just a few exceptions, saved changes are not live until they are activated. If you click the Activate icon, it will show you your current status, the total list of admins making changes, and any admins that have changes queued for activation. If there are no other admins with saved changes and you click Activate, the UI server will push the changes to the central authority and they will become active in the cloud. If there are other admins with saved changes and you click Activate, your changes will be added to the queue. Once the last administrator with saved changes clicks Activate, then all changes will be sent to the central authority. The Force Activate checkbox can only be used by the super admins and will cause their changes to be activated immediately regardless of any other administrator's saved changes. There are a few other caveats to the activation mechanism. If an administrator logs out without activating their changes, the system will automatically queue their changes for activation. Likewise, if the administrator is inactive for 30 minutes, the system will automatically queue their changes for activation as well. Finally, note that once an activation is queued, it cannot be canceled. Go ahead and click Activate now. We will now cover setting up alerts. You can define alerts to email various members and/or teams in your company as a result of the criteria you define. You can create up to 128 alerts in the system. To configure alerts, go to Administration. Then Alerts. The first step is to define an alert. Click the Add Alerts Definition button. The first option is to enable or disable the alert. You can use this if you want to silence the alerts but not delete the entire alert. Alert name is where you choose the activity that will trigger the alert. For our example, let's choose botnet. The next step is to define the volume required to trigger the alert, the scope of the alert, as well as the severity. These parameters can be used together to create an alert escalation. For our example, we can set our botnet alert to one occurrence in a day across the entire organization and list that as severity minor. You can add any comments here that will be readable by other administrators on this screen. Under the Applies To drop-down, you can select who, where, or what this alert applies to. We will apply this alert to the entire organization. You can choose to set a severity level of critical, major, minor, info, or debug. This allows you to create multiple alerts for the same kind of event, but establish different thresholds for each. Click the Severity drop-down. Click Save. We will now create another alert also for botnets, but modify the parameters to say that if there are 5 botnets detected across the entire organization in a single day, then that is considered a critical alert. Click Save. We now have 2 alerts defined. The next step is to publish the alerts, which means specifying where the alerts are being sent. Click the Publish Alerts tab. Then click Add Alert Subscription. We will be creating 2 alert subscriptions, one for minor alerts and one for critical alerts. Start by specifying the email address of the minor alert recipient. Then set the severity as minor for all the alert types. Then click Save. And now let's add our second alert for critical alerts. Enter the email address for the recipient of the critical alerts. and select Critical for each of the alert types. Then click Save. And activate your changes. Let's move on to end-user notifications. These are the messages end users will see if their activity is blocked due to a policy violation. To create or edit end-user notifications, go to Administration, then End-User Notifications. Your first choice is whether to use the default ZCALER notifications or if you want to create custom messages. If you choose Custom, you will need to enter a URL of a web page that will tell the user why they are unable to access their site. The ZCALER system will append information about the violation to the URL so the custom page can display the reason the request was blocked and give the user information about how to resolve the situation. For this exercise, however, we will use the default notifications. You have options to display the reason along with a company name and company logo, which are taken from the company profile we set up previously. You can also add additional text if you wish. Moving down the page, you can enable the display of an acceptable use policy. You can select the frequency and then enter the content of the policy itself. You can get as fancy as you want with HTML, but JavaScript is not allowed. The following sections are to allow your end users to submit their actions for review if they believe their action was incorrectly blocked. For URL and security violations, you can have the requests sent to ZCALER or a custom page created by your organization. The notification text message is what the end user will see in order to prompt them to request a review. If this request is sent to the security cloud, ZCALER will review the classification but not the policy decision. For example, the company has a policy to block access to gambling sites. An end user tries to access a site and the site is listed in the gambling category and access is blocked by the no gambling policy. If the end user requests a review, the administrator has chosen to send the review to ZCALER by selecting the security cloud option here. ZCALER will review whether the site that the end user was trying to access is actually a gambling site. If the site is correctly classified as a gambling site, no action will be taken. If the site has been misclassified, ZCALER will update its URL database and remove the site from the gambling category. ZCALER will never decide whether the policy, in this case to block access to gambling sites, is correct or not. That decision is solely up to the company administrators. If, on the other hand, the administrator selected custom location for the review, the admin would also enter a URL for their own site where the review will be sent internally. Security violation notifications display when users are blocked from accessing URLs that were identified as being infected with malware. Again, if the user wishes to contest the violation or report an incorrect categorization, the Submit To field determines where the report is sent. In this example, again, we have selected Custom Location. As such, a URL must be specified. The Web DLP notification is displayed when users are blocked from posting to certain sites due to a Web DLP policy violation. The next section on this page is used for the Caution policy action. When creating a policy, you can choose to block an action or caution it. If you choose Caution, then a notification will be displayed to the end user with the text you enter here. The user can then click through the Caution screen and will be able to visit the site. In addition to entering the caution text, you can specify a time interval after which the user will need to click through the caution message again. The next section allows you to enter contact information in case the user has questions as to why their action was blocked. Click Save when you are finished. And activate your changes. Now that you have gone through the end-user notification configuration process, you can preview the messages you created that your end users will see should they violate one of your configured policies. Click the Preview Templates button. Click the right arrow to scroll through the various notifications. In this section, we will cover backing up and restoring policies. The backup and restore process here is not used in a disaster recovery sense where you end up with a backup of your configuration that you store somewhere. It is used as a snapshot system where you can make a backup of your configuration before making changes, so if there is a logic error or other problem with your changes, you can roll back to your previous configuration by restoring that backup. To create a backup, go to Administration, then Backup and Restore. Next, click Add Restore Point. and enter a name and description for your backup. Then click Save. You can now view and/or restore this configuration by clicking the Edit icon to the right of the backup line. This will display the name and description you entered along with the date on which the backup was created. At this point, you can click on the View Stored Policies and Configuration button to view the contents of this backup snapshot. Go ahead and take a look at the Firewall Control policy to see what is stored within. You can see here all the policies that are configured under Firewall Control. You can take a closer look at each policy by clicking the View icon. In addition to viewing the policies that are part of this backup, you can also view other non-policy areas of the configuration. Click on the Stored Configuration tab. A number of non-policy configuration elements are also stored within the backup. At the moment, the Administrator Management section is being displayed, and you can see the different components that are stored here. Clicking on each of these tabs changes the display. To view the different non-policy configuration elements that are saved within the backup, click the Configuration drop-down. Let's take a look at, for example, Location Management. You can see that, at the moment, there is only a single location configured for this organization. You can also see the additional items that fall under the Location Management category. Go ahead and click Back to return to the main Backup and Restore page. If you wish to restore this backup, click the Edit icon . Administrative users are granted access using a combination of an administrative role and a user-specific scope. Let's take a look at how this works. Begin by clicking on Administration, Let's first look at how roles and admin accounts interact. Click on Role Management . There are two default administrator roles. one for the Executive Insights app for reporting, and the superadmin. Click on the View icon to the right of the superadmin to see what rights are granted by this role. As you can see, this user has full access to all areas of the system. Furthermore, you cannot edit the default superadmin role. Click Close. Let's create a view-only role that could be used by a help desk person. Click on Add Administrator Role. Name the role View Only. Set the privileges for each item to View Only. One item to decide here, based on your organization's privacy policies, is whether you want to obfuscate or hide individual usernames from the admins. If you select to obfuscate, then admins using this role will not see usernames and will instead see an alphanumeric string in place of the username. You can also further limit access to various functional areas within the admin UI. Notice that there is no mention of departments or locations in this screen. Those limitations are set in the user account. Click Obfuscated under Usernames. Under Functional Scope, you can customize which options this role has access to, whether to be able to view them, as in the case with this View Only role, or to be able to view and configure them with a regular admin. You can see that some items, such as traffic forwarding and authentication configuration, provide for more granular control with sub-items. Let's customize traffic forwarding. You will see the results later in the demo when we log in as an admin tied to this role. Uncheck Locations. And uncheck VPN credentials. Then click Save. Now that you have created the new View Only role, the next step is to create a new administrator and assign this role to it. Click Administration. Click on Administrator Management. We will now add a new admin user. Click Add Administrator. Enter a username, an email address, and the full name for this account. For Role, choose the View Only role we just created. Scope is where we can limit which parts of the company the user can administer. The default is Organization and means all locations and departments. You can restrict an admin to one or more groups of users by using the Department option in the Scope field. Departments can be synchronized from a directory server or can be manually created by clicking on User Management under the Authentication menu. You can also restrict access to a location by using the Location option in the Scope field. Locations are defined in the Locations page under the Administration tab. These are sites that generally have GRE or IPsec tunnel connections to the ZCALER cloud. This is how you would restrict an administrator to a specific location or geography. An admin can also choose to receive email updates from ZCALER by subscribing within the profile to security updates, service updates, and product updates. Security updates provide the latest information on vulnerabilities and threats that may affect your organization. Service updates provide the latest information on new service and product enhancements, including new data center notification and cloud release information. Product updates provide communication regarding important changes and updates to our service. Enter a password for the new user. Then click Save. Administrators can be authenticated via SAML using an external user database rather than the built-in database. The use of SAML has not yet been discussed and will be covered in the Authentication module at a high level in ZCCA and is covered in more detail in the ZCCP modules. For now, this is to raise awareness that this is an option. Click Enable SAML Authentication to enable SAML Auth for administrators. For this demo, however, we will not be configuring SAML, so go ahead and click Cancel. Previously, we talked about the ability to obfuscate or hide usernames from administrators. An auditor account can be created to allow the usernames to be displayed from within the restricted administrator screen. Let's see how it works in practice by creating an auditor account. Begin by clicking the Auditors tab. Click Add Auditors to create an auditor account. Then complete the required information. Then click Save. And activate your changes. At the moment, we are logged in with superadmin privileges. Let's log out and log back in with the View Only account you created earlier that has obfuscation enabled. Recall from the previous section, we configured the View Only role such that locations and VPN credentials would not be visible to administrators assigned that role. You can see that here under Administration, then Resources, then under the Traffic Forwarding section. Notice the absence of the Locations and VPN Credentials fields. Let's look at a page that would normally contain configurable items and see what it looks like when logged in as an administrator with view-only privileges. Click, for example, on Advanced Settings. You can see that there are no configurable fields or drop-down windows where selections could be made. Rather, you can only view what is set. Let's also take a look at what user obfuscation looks like. Click on Dashboard. As we are logged in with an admin role that has obfuscated users enabled, you can see that all the users are listed with alphanumeric strings. Now, say you observe some unusual activity and you need to track a user down so you can discuss the issue. Unfortunately, this administrator is unable to view the actual username. Only an administrator with auditor privileges can do that. Notice that in the upper right corner you can, with the auditor credentials, override obfuscation. Try it now and click Override. Then enter the auditor's password. You can now see the usernames in plain text. Let's log out again and log back in as the superadmin. The next item to cover is the Administrator's Audit Logs. Click on Administration, then Audit Logs. This is where you can see a list of which admins logged in, when, and from where. You can also download a log of all changes that were made by admins. Admin change logs are stored for up to 6 months, and you can download 31 days at a time. Let's take a look at each of the filters that you can see across the top, beginning with time range. Click the Time Range drop-down. You can select one of the predefined time ranges or define your own custom range. Select Current Month. In addition to the time range, you can filter the output in a variety of ways. Beginning with Action is a list of actions that can be performed by the admin in the ZIA admin portal or API. Click the Action drop-down to view some of the items. Next is Category, which is a list of available configurable areas within the ZCALER admin portal or API where the action was performed. Click the Category drop-down. Next is Subcategory for further granularity. Then Interface, which shows the source of the configuration change, either the admin UI or API. And last, Result, which displays the outcome, either success or failure. Let's take a look at line item 7 and see what changes took place. Click on the View icon to the right. You can see the pre-configuration changes, which in this case was null, and the post-configuration changes, which was to create the auditor admin. Click Close. You can also download a copy of this output in CSV. Click the Download icon in the upper right corner. Then click Done and open the CSV for a review. You can see here the changes we made to the admin roles. If an admin made a change to a policy or some other configuration item, it would list the original state in the pre-action column and the post-state change in the post-action column. Administrator roles provide the ability to organize and delegate control of the configuration across the organization. An additional feature, called Admin Rank, is also available to ensure that policies and settings configured by admins with higher rank cannot be overridden by admins with lower rank. For example, if the CIO, who has the highest rank, sets a rule for the organization blocking all access to pornography, no lower-ranked admin can create a pornography rule that overrides the one set by the CIO. The admin rank ranges from 0, the highest rank, to 7, the lowest rank. The highest rank of 0 belongs to the superadmin. Each administrator role can be assigned a rank between 1 and 7. By default, the admin rank feature is disabled. To use this feature, it must be enabled in the administration settings. Go to Administration, then Advanced Settings, then click Enable Admin Ranking. Then save. With admin rank enabled, it is now possible to create administrator roles with rank-restricted administration permissions. For example, an ops role may be added for network operations staff and assigned an admin rank of 4. Administrators assigned the ops role will have a lower rank than the CIO, who is a superadmin, with a rank of 0. If the CIO assigns a rank higher than 4 to the pornography rule, an ops administrator will not be permitted to change this rule. To see an example of how to configure rank-restricted administrator permissions, follow these steps. First, add an ops role with admin rank of 4. Navigate to the Role Management page in the Administration settings by going to Administration, then select Role Management. Click Add Administrator Role. And configure a new role named Ops. Under Permissions, set the admin rank level to 4. For this Ops role, there may be other permissions that would be changed. For this exercise, admin rank is the only setting that is changed to illustrate the effect of this feature. Click Save. Next, add an administrator and assign it to the Ops role. Go to Administration, then Administrator Management. Click Add Administrator, configure the administrator identity with the login ID operator1. Enter the email address for the administrator, and name Network Operator 1. Select the Ops role, and set the password as password-123. Then click Save. And activate your changes. Verify now that Operator 1 is not permitted to edit policies assigned a higher rank than their role. Log out and log back in as the Operator 1 administrator. Navigate to the URL and Cloud App Control page. Go to Policy. And select URL and Cloud App Control. View the admin rank assigned to the block pornography rule in the rule list. Note that it is set to rank 0. Observe that Operator 1 is only granted view permissions on the rule. Verify that Operator 1 is also not permitted to create a policy that would override policies above their rank. From the URL and Cloud App Control page, click Add URL Filtering Rule. Click the Rule Order drop-down and note that the rule can only be added below the existing rule of higher rank. In this example, the existing rule with rank 0 is in position 1, so this operator may only order it lower as the second or third rule in this rule list. Click the Admin Rank drop-down and note that the rank may only be set for a rank at or below 4. Set the admin rank to 4. Notice that the rule order is automatically set to place this rule lower in the list than the rules with higher rank. Configure the rule name as Allow Pornography. Configure the URL categories to match traffic for the pornography category. Ensure that the action is set to allow this type of web traffic and click Save. And activate your changes. Note that the block pornography rule configured by the CIO stays above the new Allow Pornography rule. With the rules in this order, traffic matching the pornography category will be blocked. Since Operator 1 is an administrator assigned rank 4, they are not able to change or override the higher ranked rule created by the CIO. This completes the ZCALER Admin UI Overview module. We hope this module has been useful to you and thank you for your time. What will follow is a short quiz to